What's going on, Sagittarius, and welcome to my channel, Scorpio Moon Tarot. I don't have any fancy announcements to make at the beginning of my videos. I just like to get right into the cards. So we'll go ahead and get started with your astrology card, and it is the Moon, and it says satisfy emotional needs, nurture self and others. And when I pull this card, for me, this generally gives me an idea of what the reading is going to be, what the foundation and topic of the reading is going to be. And then at the bottom of the deck here, for another astrology card, we have Mars in reverse. It says move forward and defend self. And then, but this is in reverse, so I don't get the sense, Sagittarius, that you really need to be defending yourself or making any moves. I'm just going to throw that out there right now because I feel like this reading is more so about your emotional body and possibly for some of you a breakup and how you're handling this breakup. So we'll go ahead and get started with the tarot cards. Here we have the Lovers in reverse, Leadership, the King of Wands, the Moon in reverse, Planning, and the High Priestess at the bottom of the deck. So two things here, Sagittarius, your emotional body, excuse me, and your intuition. We have the Moon card here twice with the High Priestess. So let me just start from the beginning just so I can keep the message clear and clean. With the Lovers and the King of Wands here, it feels like maybe, Sagittarius, you're just getting out of a relationship for some of you, or there's a decision that you haven't made yet. So for some of you, you've recently broken up. For another set, there's a decision that you might be avoiding making regarding a relationship, because the Lovers is about relationship, about a bond, about two people coming together or being together, but in the reverse, possibly not being together any longer. So we'll just go ahead with that narrative that this reading is about you and someone else. It could be that because, again, we have the King of Wands here, which is fire energy. Sagittarius is a fire sign. And it looks like this King of Wands is looking at the Lovers here. You see the way his eyes are shifting in this direction? So it could be that you, Sagittarius, are currently feeling nostalgic about a past relationship, possibly still emotionally feeling wounded from this relationship that has ended, and maybe you're not dealing with the breakup or the separation or maybe a troubled relationship very well. You could feel emotionally all over the place, emotionally stretched thin. You could also be just ignoring yourself and have fallen into a bit of depression over this relationship. Or if it's not about a relationship for some of you, there's something in your life that has triggered like a response in your emotional body that has kind of put you in a depressive state. And it feels like with the King of Wands here, he looks like he's all put together. Everything's going great for him. He looks completely confident. But I feel like for you, Sagittarius, you may give this presentation on the outside, but your inner world is kind of in shambles. Because it feels like emotionally, I feel like I'm picking up on just like scattered energy, not really focused. Instability. And what Spirit is asking you to do here, Sagittarius, is to kind of take care of yourself. Take a moment, breathe, take care of your emotional needs. Whatever you feel like you need emotionally, do that for yourself. You could have a lot of responsibilities where it feels kind of taboo or wrong to take a moment to yourself, but it feels like that's what you need to kind of stabilize yourself and understand what your emotions are trying to tell you. It feels like your intuition might be telling you to kind of slow down, take a moment, take a breather, but you might just be overriding what your intuition is telling you and just um, you're just living life on autopilot where you just probably in a cycle, or you have a routine that you do every day, and you just continue to do that because you feel like that might get you through whatever emotional struggles you're having at this moment. It might feel like your emotions make you feel murky and unclear and a little. Nobody likes to feel depressed, okay? Nobody really wants to be depressed, but you have to at some point face how you're feeling to work through it. And with the Mars energy here in reverse, this is just another sign that instead of taking action and moving and just doing your daily routine over and over again, it feels like maybe if you can take a break, even if it's just a night, to kind of be with yourself and understand what's going on within your body. Even if it's a breakup, I mean, breakups are a common thing that we as humans go through. You might have been through one or two or several, and maybe you're thinking, well, it's just another breakup, I'll get over it. But it seems like maybe something, especially if you were with someone who you really felt connected to, this breakup isn't going to be the same as any other relationship. You might have been really deeply connected to this person, so the wound is a lot deeper and needs a little bit more care, needs a little bit more treatment. It needs to be looked at, it needs to be felt. Because clearly, Sagittarius, you're thinking about this person, you're thinking about this relationship, even though you give off this appearance that you're okay, but internally, with the moon here in reverse, and we have the moon here also, especially with the moon here upright and this one in reverse, you're like I said, it's scattered energy. It feels like it's like you might feel up and down throughout your day. Like one minute you feel great, the next minute you feel like shit. It's an emotional imbalance. And with the moon here in reverse, this can also symbolize depression or suggest depression, a depressive state. But it also feels like Sagittarius, your emotions have kind of been clouding your judgment, even with you trying to move forward with life. It feels like you don't really have an idea of where you're going, and you're trying to make the decision of what's the best way forward out of this relationship or away from this relationship. The thing also is, Sagittarius, I feel like with the High Priestess here, your intuition is just spot on, but I don't, it feels like you're not really, like your emotions, or maybe it's your logic. I don't see any swords here. Something is kind of interfering with you and your intuition, or with you trying to follow your intuition. Oh, you know what it is, Sagittarius? It feels like because sometimes when we have a lot of emotional energy, just have a lot of emotions moving through our body, sometimes it can cloud or muffle the sound of our intuition, and we're doing things based off of feelings instead of like the actual voice of our intuition. And that's probably why you're having like a hard time understanding what the best way forward is, because your emotions are kind of clouding your judgment. I think I already said that. So that's why it's very good. It would be best to kind of sit still and explore your emotions, maybe write them out in a journal verbally. You can record yourself on your phone if you have that app, just so you can get your emotions out and kind of help clear away these things so you can kind of think better, make better decisions. You'll gain more clarity, maybe even see the purpose of this relationship or why it didn't work, or how it could work if for some of you you're considering reestablishing this relationship here. Three of Three of Pentacles in reverse. Oh, the Prince of Wands here, instigation, and the World, or the Wheel, not the World, the Wheel. Then we have the Princess of Swords in the reverse. So I feel like if some of you have the option to take a few days off of work, or like really give yourself some time to be alone, I feel like that would be beneficial for you. I know that's not reality for everyone, but maybe even taking maybe 30 minutes a day just to have to yourself, to go through your emotions, journal. I feel like you would feel lighter and less weighed down emotionally. Even if you can meditate, cry, there are plenty of options. It just feels like you need to move through your emotions instead of avoiding them, Sagittarius. um, and it feels like that's what you're avoiding doing, maybe because you feel like it's just going to hurt worse. But I feel like even if it hurts worse, there would be some benefit to it, to you. It's kind of a releasing process. It's like that saying, the only way, what is that saying? The only way forward is through. You know, you have to kind of go through this shit to get to the other side. And I feel like once you do this, once you start working through your emotions, um, and it doesn't feel like you need to kind of collaborate with anyone, like see a therapist. I mean, if that's what you'd like to do, of course you can always see like a therapist, or talk about your feelings with your friends, people that you trust. But it doesn't feel like that's really necessary for you, Sagittarius. This feels like something that's more personal to yourself, that you need to work through on your own to um, feel kind of free of it, to kind of lighten your load, as I mentioned earlier. So I feel like once you get through these emotions, you might find yourself feeling more energetic, more optimistic about the future, because you'll have completed whatever cycle you were meant to go through with this person and this relationship and your emotions. So it feels like, because we have the wheel upright, so it feels like fortune or favor is on your side, but you kind of have to work through your emotions to kind of get through this completed stage where you feel more revived, more energetic, more creative, just mainly feeling more like yourself. And with this page or Princess of Swords in the reverse, which is the Page of Swords, I feel like if you see the way, like I mentioned earlier, the King of Wands is looking back at this relationship. Um, you might be spying on this person over social media, and that's something you kind of need to work on letting go of. Like, kind of letting go of feeling like you need to know what's going on in this person's life. Because I don't really feel like it's giving you anything beneficial. It's not nurturing your soul, it's not nurturing your emotions, it's not giving you anything at all, but probably um, a longer period of emotional damage. you know so it feels like that's something also you probably need to work on letting go as well, Sagittarius. So the main point of this message, Sagittarius, is to not avoid your emotions, but face them head on, learning to work through these emotions that you have tied to this person, just so that you can be able to release and also hear your intuition more clearly, and get through this period of your life on top. You know, stop spying on this person. Um, I feel like once you start facing your emotions and working through them, whatever depressive energy that you might be experiencing, you'll get through it. And then once you're able to work through these emotions, then you'll be able to move forward lighter, not feeling weighed down by your emotions. Hopefully that made sense for you guys. If not, maybe I'll catch you in the next video. All right, have a great day.